got home from work. It was semi-warm today. I think we're at, it's almost 38 in the shop. I did kick the heater on. We had a little bit of a warm day. I want to go over a couple things for this video. This will be this is the second video for the TOWMINATOR. If you don't know, it's a off-road recovery rig that I'm going to build. It'll have a boom on the back, winch, a boom to pick up tractors. The reason I'm using this one is because stock weight on this with a mower deck is like 930 pounds. So it's a pretty hefty tractor. It's hydrostatic. I haven't locked it yet, so we're still figuring things out. In the last video, I had the motor mounted. Hadn't had the hood on. We set it on there. I was trying to figure it out. So I got some things changed from then to now. As you can see, hood's on it, motor's in it. We had to do some big changes. So we'll get into that. Air cleaner, I still got to set that up. There is nearly zero room under this hood with this motor in there now, but it is hooked up to the trans. It's where it's going to be going now. The hood is shaped around it. Front grille is on. So we're getting there. Sometimes it's a slow process. For me it is, because I don't just like throwing them together. I like to try to work through the problems and figure it out. So again, I got a little bit of time. We got a couple things I want to look at. We'll go over what I had to do to finalize getting this motor in here. It was a chore, but minimal hood cutting. I don't have to relocate the oil filter, but we'll go over all that. This seat is not attached. I'm not married to it yet. Not sure which one I had. It might go on there kind of like it's because it's gray, but we'll see. That's the least of my worries. Let me grab you, bring you around. So as you can see, I got the hood closed. Okay. I did have to do some cutting. It's minimal though. I'm gonna doctor it up a little bit. I might put some edging on there. You know, around here you get like a car door edging or something like that. I might put that on there. Both sides are cut. Hood is down. Sits where it should. It locks. The grill's on. Everything's good. That big motor stuffed in there. Now the only issue is I built that So I built that mount plate last time, and it was like an inch and an eighth up, because I was trying to get the motor back as far as I could, and I accomplished that, but my drive angle, excuse me, on them universals was pretty steep. I didn't like it. It was like a 6 degree, roughly if I measure it. I didn't like it. And I didn't want a lot of vibration going on, so what I did was I pulled the motor and we redid the mount plate. So we'll go over that. So I pulled this motor, you pop this hood, it's in there, okay? It's huge, it's big in there. The oil filter, I did not have to move, that just clears inside the hood, okay? So basically, I pulled this motor. The mount plate that was in there, I took the inch and an eighth out of it. I dropped this motor down and I cut the frame. I cut the frame and then I reinforced it with this plate. I threw some primer on it so that got my motor back and dropped it down an inch and a quarter. So my drive line is much straighter now. Everything fits under the hood a little better. So that was some cutting and fabricating. I didn't want to cut it, but I did, because I think in the long run it's going to pay off for what I got to do. So with that said, we just got a present that came in. And we'll close the hood here just for now. So I got a present, and that we just got this. Gotta put my glasses on because I can't damn see. Got a little bit of fuel line, some gaskets. So what we got is a brand new gasoline carburetor. So this one I had to buy because the carburetor that it is on here is for propane, and we're going to go over that in a minute. So I got this brand new carb. Should bolt right up, choke on it, everything's on it, fuel line, the fuel cutoff, the electronic fuel cutoff. I'll back this out. I don't run the electronic fuel cutoffs. They're nothing but problems. So I'll back this out. I'll cut the tip of that thing off so it doesn't shut off fuel, and then we'll put an inline fuel petcock. But this is the carb that's going to go on there. Gasket bolts right up. Gasket on this side. You know, blah blah blah. All the stuff that comes with it. So that is the existing propane carb. Here, I can. Right, they're super simplistic. Right, so here's where your propane would go in. Right, pressured propane goes in. This one actually has a carb heater on it. I wish the new carb did, but that's a carburetor heater for the propane. So anyway, I'm gonna jam this carb off here. This piece of linkage will work if I need it. It's just a piece. I won't need it. I'm gonna end up probably bringing this up, and I will attach a cable to the new one, and it'll run 2 cables, one for the choke and one for the throttle. So this is gonna come off. This sits on. This will go on. Right, like so. Boom, boom. Bolt right on. I'm gonna have to, so this is like a breather line. It pushes the pressure into the carburetor from there. I think I'm just gonna jam a filter on there as a crankcase breather. Normally they would go into the intake, but if I get too sideways, I don't want oil pumping into my carb and all that stuff. So I'm gonna pull this off there. I'm gonna slip that new carb on there. I think I might try to jam some fuel in this thing. Just see if she'll pop off. I might. So the problem is, with that, is I am running open headers. Now I have the original exhaust sitting right there. I wonder if I can wrap it around the hood and bolt it on for now, just to see if I can fire this thing off. I don't know. So right now I'm going to jam that carburetor on there. I'll pick it back up once I get that snuck on there, and then we'll go from there. Okay, I got the carb on. I got the air cleaner box on, just because I'm going to have to figure out something. I'm going to see how clean propane runs. That thing, I just pulled the plug because I want to do a quick spark test. Because I gotta see if this is my kill wire. Alright, first let's see if she'll go over. Boy, starter hung up. Must be cold. Wow. She just turns. I gotta be able to see if I can shut the damn spark off. I thought that was a kill. I don't like any of this. That thing's dead. That's weird. Okay, we're going to try to fire this thing up. I got a very archaic thing going on here. I threw the air filter box back on there. I'm going to end up sticking the air filter on there. Just so we don't suck a bunch of stuff up in there for now. The hood won't close, whatever. But at least I'm getting filtered air. I don't have a fuel tank set up. I cut some stubs on for exhaust for now, just so it's not coming right out of the head. So here's what I got. I got my small jump pack imitating a battery. Okay. And I got this jump pack gonna imitate another battery, but essentially like a starter battery. So I'm gonna power up the it's so I can kill the motor. So I gotta power up the ignition hardware with this. So it'll just be powered. I can just unhook the wire and it'll shut it down. It'll kill spark. I got a ground here that I'm going to end up wiring all this in, but I just want to give this a spritz of fuel with the new carburetor in there and see if it'll start. I completely soaked myself in fuel. I'm going to put it in that bottle. So this is on. So this is power to the ignition hardware. This is on. This is going to be my starter wire that I got wired up. I'm going to give her a little bit of fuel. Get in there. Or like all of the fuel. Apparently I'm going to spill it all over. Let's see if we can get it to pop off. Boost. Boost. Woo! So it fires up. So that's where we're at. I got to clean all this up. Okay, we're going to try to get a little longer runtime on it. I set up a fuel tank, just gravity fed. I got to get a pump. Pump goes on here. You replace the valve cover. It's got a pump on it. They're like $100 and something bucks. I got to order one. Like I said, this was a propane motor. We're going to see if we can get a little more runtime out of it. Jam the filter on. Oops, crap out of it. Okay. Oh, pulled the wire out. Finish open the door. Okay, now that we've gotten this thing to fire up, I'm going to start wiring this thing up. I've cleaned out all the dashboard stuff, solenoid, all the external solenoid, all that stuff, and obviously we're installing a much more modern motor. Super simple. So obviously you got your your battery cable. Okay, I got to put a pretty hefty battery in this thing. So we got the battery cable, we know that. We got our negative up here. I may put this longer when I need it, but we got our ground up here for our battery. So then, what the motor needs, I'm not gonna install the electronic fuel shut off. I'm not installing all that. I've actually taken that apart. I pulled the plunger out of it. I will put a manual shut off on this because if this shorts out, it'll shut the motor down, you know, stuff like that. It's not good. So for what we do off-road purposes, and I'll just cap this wire. I won't cut it off. I'll just cap it with something. These are just hot to battery wires. If you need one, which I will, but I'll take these tails off and we'll put new ones on there because your battery cable comes in to your positive solenoid post, and so the switch will need battery power and whatnot. This guy here, that's to your solenoid to kick the starter on. That blade, so this will be, I'll put a new one on, obviously all the way up, so I know that needs to go to the starter part of the switch. Okay, so in this wire bundle, so this motor is electronically fired, meaning it needs power sent to the coils to create spark. So when I put this, I'm going to use this plug. But anyway, the red one, which is this one, when you hook this to 12 volt power, it activates, you know, the ignition, so it's hot, almost like an old coil and condenser setup, except this is more modern inside here. So once I put hot to that, it's ready to create spark when it starts spinning. It also has a ground. I'm guessing this went to some of the sensors, low oil pressure sensor, whatnot. I'm also going to eventually hook this ground, which is the white, so I can shut the key off, kill power. I'm also going to put the ground onto a tether kill, like we've seen. It's got a push button in the center and a tether that you would hook to yourself. I'll do that eventually. The other ones aren't really needed. They're just extra accessory sensors. The green one was actually the oil sensor. This is kill if the power's still on. So I'm going to use the kill. I'm going to use the power on. I'm not going to do an oil pressure sensor or a low oil sensor, because there's an oil pressure sensor on this and there's a low oil sensor on this. I may put a pressure gauge in, an oil pressure gauge. I might put one in, but as of right now, I'm not going to use it. I can always add it in and we can wire it in. So I'm just going to wire this to a simple 5-pole switch. Your standard. Now it's a 5-pole, doesn't have the grounded 6th pole, which would be for something where you shut the key off and you need to ground this to shut the motor off, right, to kill spark. Again, this one is a powered spark, so I'll be hooking this up a little bit different. You got your starter, you got your battery, rectifier. So this motor does not have a charging system on it because it was in a whole house generator. It doesn't have a charging system on it. I am going to order a mini. They make a mini hot rod 1-wire alternator, and that'll get tucked right up here, up in the front. I'm going to end up running a 1-wire alternator. They produce a lot of power. I can get the stator for this and the rectifier regulator. I can get that stuff for this. But yeah, they put out good if you get the heavy duty stuff. But I'm gonna get that alternator. It's an automobile hot rod mini alternator, and they're like 60 bucks, 50 bucks. So I'm gonna get one out, because when you're at idle, they're putting out, I think Ken 315 has one, a different type, but I think they're putting out something like 20 amps at idle, and then when you're wound up, because I'm going to run 2 inches on this thing, it's going to have a pretty hefty automotive type battery, because the motor needs minimum 300 cold cranking amps to spin it over. It's a pretty high compression motor. So I tried my jump pack, even my charger, plug-in charger is a 200 amp jump, and it was all I could do to spin this motor off on the compression stroke. So so I'm going to put a battery. It's going to have a pretty hefty battery, 2 inches, one in the front, one in the back, and then from there we'll see. But it'd be super cool if I could find a way to some kind of mini welder, something welder. I mean, I don't know. We'll see, but probably not. But that's the plan. Is to get this wired up. I usually like them pretty clean. I'm going to use the original plug, which is here. I'm not going to put an ammeter in right now, which is up there. I might eventually get a voltmeter once I put the alternator in, and I'll wire in the voltmeter then. So I don't need too many of these wires for what I need for here. We've got a battery common, or a battery power to the switch. I need the starter, and then in this I'm able to use, so then I have my accessories, which will eventually be wired to lights, and then I have the ignition. So the ignition is hot when I turn the switch on, and hot when it's not, when it's starting. So it's hot on both, right? So it'll be hot. We got ignition on, starting, fires up. It's still hot, so it'll run that powered coils. So the rectifier regulator pole, I don't need that, and the accessory pole will be later on. We'll wire in some lights, and that accessory pole is only on, is only powered in the on position. In the start position, it is not powered, so everything goes to the starter. So that's pretty down and dirty. These are pretty standard, a 5-pole switch. So that's what we're going to wire. We'll wire it into all the stuff there, and then we'll go from there. I'm not going to film everything wiring. I will film after. It should be pretty clean. I'll bring these up somehow, nice somewhere, nice and clean, maybe tabbed here or something. You know, power cable, try to run along the frame and up in. I'm going to try to do it pretty clean. I like them simple, clean. Okay. All right, so worked on the wiring. I got this all cleaned up. It's up there. Get it all on a wire loom. So I got to use some kind of car battery or something, small car battery. It needs 300 cold cranking amps minimum. Pretty high compression to rip this thing over. So we're gonna have to get that. I think I'm gonna work this seat out today, and that'll probably be it. Still a lot to go. Slowly but surely forward.